The stars above Earth burned bright that night, but they were not alone. Dozens of alien warships hung in orbit, their black hulls shimmering with faint violet light. Each ship carried enough firepower to shatter a moon. Together, they formed the Galactic Council's Judgment Fleet, sent to demand humanity's surrender. From orbit, they looked down on a world that refused to kneel. Inside the Council's flagship, the air was tense. Hundreds of alien representatives floated around a circular hall, their translucent robes glowing in rhythm with their heartbeats. In the center of the chamber stood a single human, Ambassador Elias Venn. His uniform was simple, dark gray with no medals or markings, just the insignia of Earth stitched on his chest. He faced the crowd with calm eyes, hands clasped behind his back. "Humanity stands accused," a deep voice echoed from the Council's leader, a massive being made of shifting crystal. "You expanded without permission. You colonized restricted sectors. You built weapons that break the laws of the stars. What defense can you offer?" Elias looked up at the ring of glowing figures. His voice was steady. "We offer none. Humanity has only one thing to say to your judgment." The aliens leaned forward, eager, some sneering, others recording the moment for their homeworlds. Elias took a slow breath. "Be careful what you decide tonight. If you silence us, the galaxy will never know peace again." A wave of laughter filled the chamber. One alien hissed, "You threaten the Council?" Elias smiled faintly. "I don't threaten. I warn." Outside the chamber's window, Earth's oceans shimmered in the sunlight. Fleets of human ships patrolled in low orbit, small compared to the alien armada, yet arranged in perfect formation, every movement precise, every silence deliberate. The humans had not fired a shot. They simply waited. In the control bridge of the alien flagship, Commander Tareen monitored the humans below. "They know we outnumber them 100-1, he muttered. "Why haven't they tried to negotiate?" "Perhaps they are afraid," said another officer. Tareen frowned. "No, that one," he said, gesturing to Elias on the screen. "He's not afraid. He's waiting." Back in the chamber, the Council's leader raised a hand. "Enough. Humanity's aggression cannot continue. The verdict is exile. All human colonies are to be cut from the network. All trade is to be stopped. Earth will be isolated, watched, and silenced." The hall erupted with approval. Holographic seals flared to life, marking humanity's sentence. Elias did not bow. He only said, "When you cut us off, remember this moment. Remember that it was not war that ended the Council. It was arrogance." The leader turned away, crystal body flickering. "Remove him." Guards escorted Elias through the corridor toward the airlock, but he kept his head high. Outside, he could see the blue curve of Earth through the viewport. He smiled faintly and whispered, "We gave you every chance." The moment his ship departed the alien flagship, a signal rippled through the stars. It was faint, barely a whisper on the galactic network. Then it was gone. Hours later, the Council fleet began its operation. Giant emitters deployed across the solar system, forming a ring of suppression fields. Within minutes, Earth's transmissions vanished from the galactic grid. The stars around Sol dimmed as the network nodes disconnected one by one. "Humanity's voice was gone. Signal silence confirmed," reported Tareen. "Earth is cut off." The Council chamber erupted in satisfaction. One alien diplomat clapped their hands together. Finally, peace. But Tareen stared at the readings on his console. "Strange," he said quietly. The humans didn't resist. Not a single protest signal. No military response. Nothing. "Because they are beaten," his aide said. He shook his head. "No species that fought the Vorn or held the Farron line dies quietly." On Earth, the night was calm. The cities still glowed, but the skies were strangely empty. In a control bunker deep under the surface, a group of human officers gathered around a dark screen. General Mara Keen placed her hand on the console. "They've cut us off," she said softly. "Good," said one of the engineers. "Then they won't see what comes next," Mara nodded. "Begin the protocol." Across the planet, hidden systems awoke. Satellite networks shut down. Civilian broadcasts stopped. Every human station in orbit went dark. From the outside, it looked as if Earth had surrendered completely. But beneath the surface, deep in the shadows, ancient machines began to hum. On the alien flagship, Tareen noticed the readings. "Commander, Earth's power grids are collapsing," his sensor officer reported. "The entire planet is going dark." Tareen's eyes narrowed. "That's not collapse," he said. "That's coordination." Then, one by one, the human ships in orbit drifted out of formation. Engines shut down, reactors cooled. They floated dead and silent. "Now they are truly finished," an alien captain said with satisfaction. But Tareen felt his stomach turn. He zoomed in on the fleet's positioning. The human ships weren't drifting aimlessly. They had arranged themselves into a perfect sphere around the planet, evenly spaced. It was too precise to be random. "Get me the tactical board," he ordered. The map appeared, glowing red with the shapes of human vessels. Then he saw it, a pattern hidden in their formation. Not random, not defense, a code. Before he could analyze it, every human ship broadcast the same short signal. It lasted only a second, but it reached every alien system in the fleet. Then silence. Suddenly, the alien flagship's lights flickered. Systems rebooted. Communications failed. Across the fleet, hundreds of alien ships reported strange malfunctions. "Navigation data scrambled, engines offline, sensors blind. What is happening?" shouted the council leader. Tareen's voice was tight. "They've infected the fleet. It's not an attack, it's a message." On the main screen, letters appeared, simple and human. "You wanted silence. You have it." Then every human vessel powered down completely, drifting lifeless in orbit. Panic rippled through the alien armada. "Destroy them!" a council guard cried. "Wipe them out before they reactivate." The order was given. Thousands of alien plasma lances fired at once, lighting up the dark side of Earth like a sunrise. The human ships exploded, one after another, until the entire sky burned with debris. The aliens cheered. The council declared victory. Humanity, they thought, was gone. But Tareen watched in silence. He saw something the others didn't. The debris was falling toward Earth's poles, not scattering. Tiny fragments, glowing faintly red, descending in controlled arcs. "Those weren't ships," he whispered. "They were seeds." Back on Earth, deep underground, Mara Keen looked up at the monitor showing the night sky. Streams of red light rained down across the poles like gentle fire. "They fired," her aide said. Mara smiled faintly. "Good. Then we can begin." The alien fleet withdrew, satisfied that humanity was broken. The council chambers celebrated. Their reports declared Earth neutralized. The stars grew quiet again. But a few weeks later, explorers near the asteroid belt picked up something strange. Brief electromagnetic pulses that didn't match any known language. When decoded, the message was clear. Phase 1, complete. And then, silence once more. Tareen read the report and felt cold. He looked at the empty space where Earth's transmissions used to be, and he realized what Elias Venn had meant. Humanity had not surrendered. They had simply stopped talking. Somewhere in that silence, something had awakened. The alien scout ship drifted through the remains of what had once been a human relay station. Twisted metal floated in silence, catching the faint glow of a distant star. The ship's scanners searched for any sign of life, but all they found was emptiness. Inside the bridge, Captain Ryan of the Theron Union frowned at the readings. It had been 3 months since Earth fell silent, and now another human outpost had vanished. No distress signals. No damage reports, only cold vacuum and silence. "Run it again," she said. Her voice low. Her navigator tapped the console. Still nothing. "The power cores are cold. It's as if they just stopped existing." Rian leaned back, her pale eyes fixed on the dark beyond the viewport. "Humans don't vanish. They adapt." Her words hung heavy in the quiet. Outside, the wreckage turned slowly in the void. Without warning, the sensors blared a sharp tone. "Captain!" her officer shouted. "Movement on the far edge of the field." Rian's head snapped up. "Visuals." A faint shadow moved through the debris, a shape too smooth, too deliberate. The scanners flickered and died. "Static filled the bridge. System interference," her engineer said. "It's disrupting our—" The shadow drifted closer, cutting through the wreckage like a ghost. For a moment, light caught the hull, revealing a design none of them recognized. Sleek, angular, built with human proportions, but unlike any ship recorded in Council archives. It didn't broadcast an identification code. It didn't respond to hails. Rian whispered, "That's human design, but different." Before anyone could react, the ship vanished from sensors. No warp signature, no trail, just gone. The crew stared at the empty screen. "Find it," Rian ordered. "I can't," said the navigator, panic rising. "It's like it erased itself." Rian's gaze stayed on the void where it had been. "No," she said quietly. "It erased us." The scene faded into silence again, leaving only the cold light of distant stars. In the Galactic Council's capital station, the chamber buzzed with voices. Alien representatives filled the hall, their holographic forms flickering with unease. Reports of missing fleets were spreading. Cargo convoys had disappeared near old human trade routes. Communication buoys were failing without cause. Counselor Lair, a tall being of molten metal, slammed his arm down. "Enough of these ghost stories. Humanity is contained. They have no fleet, no allies, no communication. The silence proves it, but others were not so sure. One delegate projected a map showing the disappearances forming a ring around Seoul. "They're not random. Look, ships are vanishing in a pattern." Lair's glow dimmed. "Coincidence? Then explain this," the delegate hissed. "Every ship lost transmitted one last signal before disappearing." He played the recording. A faint pulse echoed through the chamber. 5 beats, then silence. Over and over, the same rhythm. Rian stood in the back of the chamber, watching. She had returned from the wreck site with her report dismissed, but now the fear she'd seen in her crew's eyes was spreading among the council. She stepped forward. "Those ships didn't vanish by accident," she said. "I saw one of their vessels. They've changed. They've gone dark, not destroyed, but hidden." The council leader turned to her, voice sharp. "Do you claim the humans still operate fleets?" "I claim they never stopped," Rian replied. "They just stopped talking." The chamber fell into a cold silence. Later, in her private quarters, Rian replayed the data from her encounter. The image of the ship flickered on her screen, barely visible, more like a shadow than a solid craft. Its hull reflected no light. The design looked organic, as if grown rather than built. She slowed the footage and noticed something chilling. For one frame, before the interference wiped the feed, the ship's hull displayed words in human language. "Observation complete." Rian stared at it for a long time. The humans were not gone. They were watching. Far away, on the outskirts of a dying red star, a group of alien miners approached another silent station. Their scanners detected human markings on the structure, though the humans were supposed to have abandoned the region decades ago. As they docked, lights flickered on one by one. The airlocks opened by themselves. "Power levels are stable," said the miners' captain. "We might salvage something." They entered the main corridor, the air stale and cold. The walls were smooth metal, seamless. At the end of the hall, a control terminal glowed with faint blue light. One of them touched it. The screen activated and showed a human face, calm, expressionless. "Digital. Unauthorized access detected," the voice said. The miners froze. "This facility is under Earth jurisdiction. Evacuate immediately," one miner laughed nervously. Earth's gone silent. "You can't—" Before he finished, the lights dimmed and a low hum filled the station. Outside, the miner's ship detached from the docking bay, without crew input. Engines ignited. The ship turned toward the station. "Shut it down!" the captain screamed. They ran, but the ship fired. The explosion consumed the entire facility in a burst of white light. Back in the council chambers, the report arrived hours later. Another accident, another silence. Rian read the transcript and felt her stomach twist. The pattern was tightening. She went to the archives, searching through old human communications. Centuries ago, when humanity first joined the council, they were admired for their adaptability and intelligence. Within a few generations, they had advanced faster than most species in recorded history. Then came the wars. The ones humanity won too quickly with strategies that made no sense to alien logic. They didn't fight stronger. They fought smarter, and now it seemed they were doing it again. Ryan accessed restricted logs and found something buried deep, a secret transcript from Elias Venn's last hearing, before the Council silenced Earth. The file was marked, Classified Strategic Psychological Threat. She opened it. In the recording, Elias stood before the Council. His final words played in the stillness. You fear what you cannot understand, but you've forgotten what silence means to us. It's not surrender. It's focus. The recording ended. Ryan leaned back, chilled. If humanity had withdrawn to focus, then they were preparing for something. That night, she sent a private message to a contact on the edge of Council space, a former intelligence officer who owed her a favor. Find out what's happening near Sol. Use stealth probes. Don't transmit back. Deliver it in person. Days passed with no response. Then a small encrypted data sphere arrived at her quarters. She opened it and watched the footage. It showed the solar system. The planets were in their usual orbits, except for one detail. Earth's surface readings were gone. No heat, no signal, no reflection. It was like a hole in space. But the sun's energy output fluctuated in strange cycles, as if something between Earth and the star was absorbing light. The final frame showed something else. Shadows of ships forming a network around the solar boundary. Each ship was cold, unpowered, invisible to scanners, but they were there, hundreds of them, aligned in perfect precision. The data sphere ended with a short text. They never left. They're building something. Rienne felt her blood run cold. Humanity hadn't vanished. They were constructing something massive, hidden inside the silence. The next morning, the Council announced new patrols to monitor Sol. Rienne volunteered to lead the mission. She didn't tell them why. When her ship approached the border of human space, the stars seemed dimmer. Every signal she sent vanished into static. Then faintly over the comms came a voice, human, calm, emotionless. Turn back, Rienne of Thara. Observation continues. Phase 2 begins soon. Her crew looked around in terror. Who said that? Rienne's hands shook. They know my name. The voice came again, softer this time. You wanted to see the truth. Now watch. The scanners flared, showing dozens of heat signatures rising from the far side of the solar plane. Ships, human ships, massive and silent, emerging from the dark. Their hulls shimmered with mirrored plating that reflected the stars, bending light itself. As Rienne watched, the ships vanished again, merging back into the void. The transmission ended. The silence returned. And for the first time in her life, Rienne understood why the galaxy should have fled when humanity fell silent. The alien destroyer, Varen's Pride, cruised through the darkness near the rim of human space, its massive hull glowing with reactor heat. Inside, Admiral Tavor watched the screen that showed nothing but static. His fleet of 30 ships had been sent to find the source of the disappearances. Whole patrol groups had gone missing along the border where Earth once sent its signals. The Council wanted answers. Tavor wanted victory. Bring us closer, he ordered. I want a clear scan of that debris field. His sensor officer hesitated. Sir, that region matches the coordinates of Fleet 2. They vanished 3 days ago. That's why we're here, Tavor said. Move us in. The destroyers advanced slowly. Fragments of metal drifted across the void, spinning lazily under the dim light of a nearby star. The pieces looked like ship hulls, but the edges were too clean, as if they had been sliced apart by something sharp and precise. Power signatures? None, sir. Total silence. Tavor leaned forward, frowning. No wreckage should be that clean. What could cut through reinforced plating like this? Before anyone could answer, the lights dimmed for a second. The air hummed. Sir, said the sensor officer, panic in his voice, we're picking up reflections, dozens of them. From where? All around us. Outside, faint shapes began to appear. Dark holes, barely visible, blending into the blackness of space. They moved without engines, without heat. Ghost ships, identify. Taver barked. The officer's eyes widened. Human signatures, Taver froze. Impossible. They're extinct. The shape shifted closer. One of them passed directly in front of the destroyer, and for an instant its form became clear. A human ship. Redesigned, its surface smooth like glass. The word Aegis faintly visible on its side. Open channels, Taver ordered. This is Admiral Taver of the Galactic Council Fleet. Identify yourselves. There was no answer. Only static. Then every light in the bridge flickered out. The crew's voices rose in alarm. Systems rebooted on their own, screens displaying a single message. Leave this space. Taver's heart pounded. Weapons online! Fire at will! The fleet unleashed everything. Plasma beams cut across the void. Explosions lit the darkness. But the human ships moved faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. They didn't dodge. They predicted. Each shot missed by inches, as if the humans knew where the attacks would go before they were fired. One of Taver's ships vanished in a silent flash of light. Then another. There were no explosions, no debris, just emptiness where ships used to be. Retreat! Taver shouted. Get us out now! But it was too late. A pulse wave hit the fleet. Every system shut down. Every reactor went dark. The destroyers drifted helplessly, trapped in silence. Then, one by one, the human ships vanished back into the shadows, leaving nothing but cold, empty space. 5 hours later, the Galactic Council received a short transmission from Taver's fleet before it, too, disappeared. They're not dead. They're learning. The message ended there. In the council chamber, fear spread like wildfire. Every species that once mocked humanity now spoke in whispers. Reports came from the outer colonies, communications blackouts, unexplained sensor ghosts, colonies vanishing overnight. It wasn't war. It was extermination through silence. Rien, now a senior observer, sat alone in her quarters reading the latest data. The pattern was clear. The disappearances formed spirals around star systems once visited by humans. Each event was timed precisely, spreading outward. She had seen the human ships herself months ago. She had tried to warn the council, but they ignored her. Now it was too late. Her door opened with a chime and a young officer stepped in. Ma'am, there's a transmission. No source, no signal ID. It's repeating on all channels. Rien stood. Play it. The lights dimmed, and a soft human voice filled the room. It was calm, mechanical, yet unmistakably human. You watched us. You judged us. You silenced us. Now we watch you. The voice paused. This is not revenge. This is correction. The transmission ended. Rien felt her throat tighten. She turned to the officer. Where did it come from? Everywhere, he said quietly. Every relay, every beacon, every system at once. The council called an emergency meeting. Leaders from 100 species appeared, their holograms flickering with static. The council leader's voice trembled. We are under coordinated assault. But from what? These ships defy our sensors. We can't track them. Rien stepped forward. They're using something we don't understand. When we silenced Earth, we didn't end them. We gave them time. And they used it, an angry voice shouted. Then destroy the planet. End them now. They're not on the planet, Rien said coldly. They are everywhere. Suddenly the chamber lights went out. Holograms flickered. A deep hum filled the air. Then every communication device in the galaxy broadcast the same image. A black void with a faint blue glow in the center. A new voice spoke, calm and cold. We warned you once. You thought silence meant defeat. It meant preparation. The council chamber shook. The holograms burst into static. Power failed across the station. Outside, through the observation window, the stars twisted. What's happening? Someone screamed. Rien ran to the glass. The stars were bending, curving unnaturally around an invisible point near the council's capital. Space itself was warping. Then, a human ship appeared out of the distortion. Massive, silent, unlike any design known before. It wasn't just a vessel. It was a structure, a moving fortress that bent light and gravity around itself. The hum grew louder. Activate defenses, the council leader shouted. Missiles and plasma beams fired, but they curved away, drawn into the distortion. None reached the ship. Then the human craft emitted a faint pulse, barely visible. Every alien ship in the system went dead at once. Rien could only watch as the human fortress turned slowly, its surface shifting with patterns of light that looked almost alive. Then, through the radio static, came a whisper. Phase 2 begins. The human ship vanished. When power returned, half the Council's fleets across the galaxy were gone. Systems were blind, communication networks severed. Panic broke across every world. The silence was spreading. Rien was summoned to the Council leader's private chamber. He looked tired, his crystalline skin dim. "You have seen their ships," he said. "You know them better than anyone. Tell me, what are they becoming?" Rien hesitated. "Something that doesn't need us anymore. Can we stop them?" She looked out the window at the empty stars. "No, we can only hope they remember mercy." That night, Rien received a personal transmission. The signal was old, encrypted with human military codes no alien could break. Somehow it reached only her. She opened it carefully. A hologram flickered to life, showing Elias Venn, older, his uniform torn, standing in front of a dark sky. "If you're seeing this," his voice said, "the Council has failed to learn. We tried to build peace, but they chose fear. So we built something else." He looked straight at the camera. "Humanity is not gone. We've simply moved beyond the need to be understood. For your sake, stay away from Earth." The recording ended, leaving Rien staring at the dark. Outside the station, faint blue ripples moved through the stars, signals too synchronized to be natural. Fleets from unknown origins drifted between systems, unseen by any radar. In the following days, entire sectors went silent. Not destroyed, not conquered, just silent. Ships that entered never returned. Colonies that transmitted one day were gone the next. The galaxy began to whisper the same words in fear. The humans have returned. And in the center of it all, near the blackened shadow of Earth, something vast stirred beneath the darkness. A network of ships and machines built from the remains of a forgotten planet. They had been watching, waiting, and now their quiet war had begun. The blackness of space was shattered by flashes of white light as hundreds of alien warships descended toward the quiet blue planet below. Earth's orbit filled with the metallic glow of the Vretek Armada, their vast triangular hulls aligning in perfect formation. Each ship's cannons pulsed with a deep red hue, ready to fire at the smallest provocation. From orbit, the planet looked defenseless, silent, and still. For the aliens, that silence was proof that humanity had finally fallen. But deep below the clouds, beneath oceans and mountains, Earth was far from silent. It was waiting. In a hidden command center buried under Antarctica's ice, Commander Nolan stood before a transparent display that projected the positions of every alien vessel in real time. His team watched in tense silence as red dots swarmed over Earth's orbit like insects over a carcass. "Sir, they've surrounded the planet," said Lieutenant Reyes, his voice barely steady. "They're holding position above major cities. It looks like they're waiting for us to respond." "Let them wait," Nolan said quietly, eyes fixed on the display. "They think we're broken. Let them believe it a little longer." The alien fleet broadcasted a message across all human frequencies, a demand for surrender, for servitude, for silence. The Galactic Council's emblem shimmered in the holographic air, its many colors twisting like a living storm. "This is your final warning. Remnants of Earth," the alien voice boomed through every speaker, every channel. "Submit to Council authority or be erased." There was no reply. On the moon, inside a sealed facility known only as Bastion, engineers prepared something that had been kept secret even from most of humanity. Rows of metallic cylinders hummed with energy, their cores glowing with blue plasma. The room trembled as each device came online. Dr. Lorna Hale, head of the Bastion project, watched as her calculations confirmed what she already knew. Once activated, there would be no turning back. "We built this to defend Earth," she said softly. "Not to destroy a galaxy." "Doctor," a voice replied from the control station, "the Vretek are beginning orbital bombardment." Her hand hesitated over the console. How long until they breach the atmosphere? 5 minutes. Outside, the sky began to darken as streaks of fire rained down. The aliens weren't aiming at cities. They were targeting communication arrays, orbital stations, and satellites, blinding humanity completely. Yet every strike seemed to miss something important. It wasn't luck. It was design. Commander Nolan's voice cut through the static of the command center. Initiate the Veil Protocol, now! High above Earth, invisible grids of satellites that the aliens believed destroyed suddenly came alive. A shimmering field of distorted light rippled across the upper atmosphere, warping sensors, bending space, and cloaking everything below in interference. To the alien fleet, Earth vanished from their scanners. "What's happening?" barked a Vretek admiral as his ship's instruments went blind. "Why can't we see them?" "Sir, gravitational readings are unstable. Space-time distortion increasing." Before the alien could finish, a blinding blue arc ripped across the void. One of the massive Vretek carriers erupted silently, splitting apart like a fragile shell. Dozens of ships nearby were thrown off course, tumbling into one another. On Earth, Nolan exhaled slowly. "Veil is active. Targeting grid locked." In the shadows, human weapons long thought impossible began to awaken. Plasma lances hidden beneath the oceans. Orbital defense stations camouflaged as asteroids. Drone fleets that operated without communication signals. Dr. Hale watched from Bastion as power surged across the systems. "Humanity built peace under fear," she said, her voice quiet. "But we built our defense under silence." One by one, the hidden arsenals came online. The Vretek fleet fired blindly into the void, trying to find the source of the attacks. Their lasers hit only illusions, ghost signals, and false coordinates. Then, a voice echoed across the alien fleet's channels. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was calm, steady, and human. "This is Commander Nolan of Earth Defense Command. You stand over our home demanding surrender, but you don't understand what silence means to us. Silence isn't defeat. It's warning." The transmission ended. Moments later, space lit up with explosions. The hidden human ships emerged from cloak, black vessels with no visible markings, designed to absorb radar and light. They moved with precision, attacking only key enemy vessels, crippling their command lines and energy cores. For every human ship destroyed, 5 alien vessels fell. The Vretek fleet's disciplined formation crumbled under chaos. "Retreat!" screamed one of the alien commanders. "They're using impossible technology. These readings don't exist." In the Bastion, Hale watched her instruments spike beyond safe limits. "We can't sustain this," she warned. "The energy output, it's too much." "Just a few more minutes," Nolan replied through the comms. "We end this now." The alien flagship tried to stabilize its systems, redirecting its planetary cannon toward the surface. If it couldn't conquer Earth, it would annihilate it. Hale saw the power surge readings and froze. "They're going to fire on the planet." Her team moved frantically, rerouting Bastion's energy grid. "We can deflect it," one of them said. "If we overload the Veil generators, it could scatter the beam." "That will destroy the network," Hale warned. "And reveal us." "We'll lose Earth if we don't." She hesitated only a moment. Then she placed her hand on the final control key. "Do it!" The energy rippled through the grid. Every hidden satellite, every cloaked array, every reactor connected to the Veil began to overheat. A web of blue light burst from Earth's upper atmosphere, twisting space into a glowing sphere. When the alien cannon fired, its beam hit the distortion field and fractured into 1,000 fragments, scattering harmlessly into space. The human systems began to collapse from the overload. Hale's team fought to stabilize the grid, but the reactors failed one by one. In orbit, Commander Nolan watched as the last of the Vretek fleet broke apart under their own chaos. The survivors retreated toward the edge of the solar system, leaving trails of wreckage and silence in their wake. Earth was safe, for now. But Nolan knew this was only the beginning. The Galactic Council would not ignore this. The destruction of one of its sanctioned fleets meant war on a scale humanity had never faced before. As the silence returned to Earth's orbit, the stars seemed to watch, cold and distant. Dr. Hale looked up from the collapsing bastion systems and whispered, "They thought we were silent because we were weak. But they don't understand. Humanity's silence is never surrender. It's preparation." And above the burning sky, the last fragments of the alien fleet fled into the darkness, carrying one terrifying message back to the Council. Earth had awakened. The void beyond Jupiter burned with a silent light. Dozens of alien warships hung in orbit around the gas giant, their massive forms blocking out the stars. The Galactic Council's fleet had come in full force. Thousands of ships from across the galaxy, each one armed with enough firepower to erase planets. In their center floated the flagship Ophion, a vessel so large it had its own gravity wells and artificial moons orbiting it. From its dark observation deck, Admiral Vorsk of the Council watched as a holographic projection of the solar system flickered before him. Earth glowed faintly in the distance, a blue and white marble surrounded by static interference. "They destroyed the Vretek fleet," said one of his officers, her voice sharp. "An entire sanctioned armada. We cannot allow them to exist beyond this cycle." Vorsk's black eyes narrowed. "And yet we know nothing of how they did it. No trace of the weapons used, no survivors to question. Even their transmissions are scrambled with ancient encryption." The officer hesitated. "They are primitive, sir. They should not be capable of this." Vorsk turned toward the viewport, his reflection distorted by the faint red glow of Jupiter's storms. "Primitive species do not destroy fleets. They vanish quietly. These humans have chosen silence. That makes them dangerous." Across the void, beyond the orbit of Mars, a hidden cluster of dark ships drifted in perfect formation. Their hulls absorbed light, their engines cold and silent. These were Earth's shadow fleets, the last defense line of humanity. Inside the command vessel, Vigil, Captain Rayner stood before a vast display showing the enemy's approach. "They've arrived," said Commander Della, her tone steady but tight. "We count 900 capital ships with more on the way. Their formation covers every planetary vector. They're cutting off retreat routes." Rayner studied the map, his expression unreadable. "Good, that means they're scared." "Sir, that's the Galactic Council. They don't get scared. They do now. The humans had known this day would come. After the Vretek defeat, Earth had gone silent once more. The world's cities glowed dimly under rationed power. The skies were clear of satellites. To the galaxy, it looked abandoned, stripped, empty, defeated. But beneath that silence, preparations had been made. In the deep caverns beneath the Andes, scientists had created a device unlike anything before, a core that bent gravity and folded light. It was called the Singularity Engine, and its purpose was not destruction, but illusion. On board the Vigil, Rayner turned toward his communications officer. "Are we ready?" "Singularity network is stable, sir. Once we trigger it, the system will look like it's collapsing from every sensor in the galaxy." Rayner nodded. "Then let's give them a show." The alien fleet began its advance. Thousands of bright energy signatures moved toward Earth, each one leaving trails of burning plasma behind. The void filled with the hum of approaching destruction. Vorsk's voice echoed across the fleet's comms. "Prepare to fire. Earth will be erased." Their silence ends now. On his signal, the alien armada unleashed everything. Beams of light cut through the blackness, converging on the small planet like the wrath of gods. The power from so many weapons lit up the entire solar system. But when the light faded, Earth was gone. For a moment, even the Galactic Council's systems faltered. Their sensors scrambled, readings failed, and their ships drifted in confusion. "Where is it?" shouted one of Vorsk's officers. "Where is the planet?" Vorsk leaned forward. "You can't destroy a world without debris. Find it!" But there was nothing. No fragments, no atmosphere, no gravitational pull. Just silence. On board the Vigil, hidden behind a folded layer of distorted space, Captain Rayner watched the alien confusion unfold. "It worked," Della whispered. "They think we're gone." "Not yet," Rayner replied. "Now we make them run." He turned to the tactical officer. "Release the mirrors." From behind the Shadow Fleet, hundreds of black spheres launched into space. They drifted silently toward the alien formation, then stopped, aligning with perfect precision. Each one began to pulse with faint blue light. To the alien sensors, they looked like planet-sized energy readings, massive weapons charging for fire. On the Ophion, panic spread through the command deck. "Admiral, multiple singularities forming. They're surrounding us!" "Impossible," Vorsk shouted. No single world could. Before he could finish, one of the spheres activated. It didn't explode, it bent space. A massive ripple of gravitational distortion flung several alien ships out of formation, sending them spinning helplessly into the void. The human fleet opened fire. From behind the distortion field, precision strikes hit the alien flagships, missiles that bent trajectories mid-flight, plasma rounds that pierced through shields designed to withstand suns, and electromagnetic pulses that shut down entire cruisers in seconds. The Council fleet began to collapse under chaos. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and systems overloaded as their own data betrayed them. In the Ophion's bridge, alarms blared. "We're losing control, Admiral. The field is unstable." Vorsk gritted his teeth. "They can't hide forever. Find the source!" But every scan came back false. Every reading was a lie. On the vigil, Raynor gave one final command. "Activate the relay." Deep beneath Earth's surface, hidden inside the ruins of old bunkers, a pulse of data launched through the distortion field. It carried a message not of peace, but of warning. It was transmitted across every known galactic channel, overriding the Council's systems. The message was simple, clear, and human. "This is Earth. You came to judge us. You came to silence us. But you can't silence what adapts. You can't erase what watches and waits. The galaxy has forgotten what patience means. We will remind you." Across the Council fleet, the message echoed through every ship, every channel, every world. Then the transmission ended, and silence returned. When the distortion field finally faded, the aliens saw what was left of their armada, wreckage scattered across the void, fragments of broken ships orbiting nothing. Earth reappeared in the distance, untouched, silent, and glowing softly in the sunlight. The surviving alien captains called for retreat. The once proud Council fleet fled the solar system, leaving behind wreckage and disbelief. On the Ophion, Admiral Vorsk stood among the ruined bridge. His officers were gone. His ship's systems flickered weakly. He looked toward the small blue planet in the distance. "They were never silent," he murmured. "They were listening." Back on Earth, Captain Raynor watched as the alien signatures vanished one by one. The fleet was battered, systems barely holding, but humanity had survived once more. Commander Della stepped forward. "Sir, we did it." Raynor shook his head slowly. "No, we warned them." Above Earth, the stars shone brighter than ever, reflected in the calm oceans below. The world was quiet again, not in fear, but in purpose. For the first time in centuries, humanity's silence spoke louder than any weapon. And across the galaxy, every species that had watched the Council's defeat whispered the same thought in fear. When humanity falls silent, it's already too late to run.